Sorry, Mrs. Firdausia in room.
Tidak bisa.
Okay. Mrs. Firdausia.
Yeah, I'm here. Do you listen me, sir?
Kita bisa mulai, Bu Firdausia.
Oke. Ini nggak bisa loh.
Kita beri kesempatan Prof. Masyito. Ya.
This is without opening, share.
Oke. Bahrul gimana? Bahrul kemana ini? نعم أستاذة فردوسية يمكن نستطيع أن نبدأ هذا البرنامج. تفضل. يمكن المتكلم الأول يعني الأستاذة دكتورة مشيطة يعقوب من ماليزيا من UKM. Ustazah Firdausia, Mrs. Firdausia.
Ya, I'm here. Ya, gimana?
Bisa kita mulai langsung dengan pemateri pertama, Ustazah Profesor Dr. Masyitah mungkin untuk mempersingkat.
Jadi tidak perlu pembukaan dulu, Pak. Ini.
Welcoming speech-nya sudah.
Ya.
Oke, kita mulai.
Yanda gimana nih?
Oke.
Welcoming speech-nya Ustadz Hafiz.
نبدأ.
الحمد لله الذي من نعمته تتم الصالحات وتتنزل الخيرات والبركات وتحققت المقاصد والغايات. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد، فضيلة رئيس المعهد الأمين برندوان ونائبه حفظ اللهما وسددهما، فضيلة رئيس الجامعة الأمين الإسلامية برندوان سمنة مادورة، أصحاب الفضيلة جميع المحاضرين من بقاع الدنيا، مرحبا بكم جميعا في هذا المؤتمر الدولي المنعقد من قبل جامعة الأمين الإسلامية برندوان سمنة مادورة، ونشكركم شكرا جزيلا لمشاركتكم في هذا المؤتمر هذا وإن موضوعنا في مؤتمر اليوم الإسلام التقليدي في عصر الحاضر موضوع واسع أرجى مترامل الأطراف يكشف بالحديث عن الإسلام التقليدي في الزمن الإسرائيلي أهمية ترتبط الأولى الدينية والمجال السياسي أدى إلى استيلاء الإسلاميين المتطرفين على فئات المجتمع المتنوعة. هذه كلمات التي أستطيع في إلقائها لافتتاح هذا المؤتمر. عسى أن يكون هذا المؤتمر اليوم نافعا لنا ولكم ولجميع المشاركين فيه. آمين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Tes, tes. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Okay. Can I start or maybe directly going to the first speaker, or I start firstly? Okay, then Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can one of you listen my voice?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I'm so sorry because I have problems with my laptop. So yeah, so I changed my media. Okay, then let's start our discussion today by reciting basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respectable, the head of Institute Dirasat Islamiyah Al-Amien Prenduan, Indonesia, Honorable Sir Dr. Abdul Ghafur as the head of Indonesian Education Share to Care Volunteers, Honorable all of keynote speakers, and also all participants in today's discussion. Today is the 5th day of annual international conference that held by IDIA, or we can say Institute Dirasat Islamiyah Al-Amien Prenduan, Indonesia. So today we have a specific topic in traditional Islam in modern world. So give their opinion about traditional Islam itself. For the all of participants, any one of you want to give about what traditional Islam is? Okay. If you don't, so I would like to give you just a little opinion about traditional Islam. In the case of Islam traditions, it means that It can the word, it can like a word, saying, or actions that given from our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that recorded by all of the collection of hadith. In one book that relate with this, in book Sayyid Hossein Nazar, tradition itself, it has three aspects: ad-din, religion, and the second is as-sunnah, the models that given from our Prophet, and the last is al-silsilah, or the chains that link up, that link from one period to another period in the life. That's about traditions. And now, speaker today, I would like to check them. The first is Dr. Saidna Zulfikar bin Tohir from University of Ikaburu. Are you there, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. And then for Professor Madia, Dr. Masyitah Yaakob from Malaysia, where are you here, ma'am?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Then Dr. Tiago Suarez, are you here, sir? Okay, nobody. And then let's go on to Bapak Muhammad Jufriadi Soleh. Are you here, sir? Pak Muhammad Jufriadi Soleh? Okay, then. Okay. Then Professor Hisam Al-Sagbini from United Kingdom. Are you here, sir? Okay, then Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. Okay, then
Hadir.
Okay, then Professor Dr. Ahtim from Rusia. Are you here? Okay, and the last is Dr. Unchung. Are you here, Dr. Unchung?
Yes.
Okay,
I am
then.
here.
Okay, thank you. So today, our speaker has already stay at Zoom. So today we will going to the first speaker. To limit the time, I would like to give the time for Dr. Saidna Zulfikar bin Tohir from University of Ikaburu. Okay, I will only give you a limit time for 15 minutes. Thank you for the time. Time is yours.
Okay. Is my voice Okay, thank you, moderator. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, friends, and also thank you to the Raisul Mahad Al-Amien, and also thank you to Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible?
Yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Saidna Zulfikar bin Tohir, Director of Research and Community Service Section of the University of Ikaburu in Maluku, and allow me to share a little bit about languages in multilingual society.
Anda tolong matikan.
Suaranya yang bergema terus. Okay, well. Perhaps in a few couple days ago, some speech already presented about bilingualism, or perhaps also about multilingualism, and today I will share about languages fishing in multilingual society. Well, talking about language fishing, so we have to know some terms of getting the new languages. You know, today we are living in a multicultural society that made us become multi-ethnic, multi-race, multi-religion, multi-belief, and another multi. So, of course, based on our society today is multiculturalism. So we have many languages in our society that made us become multilingualism, because there are many languages in our society. Perhaps English language or Arabic, Indonesian, French, or even in local languages of Indonesian, and then many other languages in our society. So some of us become a monolingualism, but perhaps today there is no one of us is monolingualism. Today, I convinced that today we are all bilingualism or multilingualism. So when we talk about multilingual, some experts already define about multilingualism is in past day, like Bloomfield stated that bilingual is a person who can speak in two languages in the same level of skills. So it is old definition of bilingualism. So when we talk about multilingual, some experts also can switch from one language to other language in daily speaking. Perhaps when he speak or she speak in Japanese, perhaps konnichiwa, ima nanji desu ka, anata wa doko kara gozaimasu. I continue my presentation. Some trouble with my connection. So multilingual is a person who can speak more than two languages in his daily life, such as in writing or speaking, or perhaps in reading and listening. Even they don't have a same level of competence or skill, they could be called by multilingualism. So when I can speak Arabic a little bit, like say something in my daily life, like Assalamu alaikum, kayfa haluka, maza taf'al al-yawm, it's called by multilingualism. So the multilingualism is who can switch from one to another language in the same time. So based on my research findings, because I studied this about multilingual for since 2012 about multilingual, and up to date I'm still researching about multilingual teaching and learning, such in Islamic boarding school or pesantren, and also combining four-in-one languages in some program or some in one teaching. So then I divided between multilingual and monomultilingual. Some expert will ask about what is the difference then between multilingual and monomultilingualism. Here I distinguish between multilingual and monomultilingual with some definition. That is, multilingual means that a person who can speak more than two languages in separated place, in separated setting. So I mean multilingual, for instance, in one situation, one setting, there are many people came from other country who can speak more than languages. So when they speak at the same time, sorry, could I continue my presentation? Because here in my place.
Yeah, you can continue.
Can continue? Okay.
Oh, Azan. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's up to you, sir. You want to stop it or you can continue. Maybe you can stop it first because that's Adan.
Yeah, I will pause my presentation then. Okay. Okay,
Okay, you
I
can continue.
yeah, I continue my presentation. So again, we'll explain about the difference between multilingual and monomultilingualism. So multilingual is the person who has the ability to speak more than two languages, and we switch from one language to another language that called by multilingualism. So the multilingualism who has ability to speak more than two languages in the same time, same place, and same setting. While monomultilingualism is a person who can speak more than two languages but in separated place or separated occasion. For instance, when he or she meet someone from Arabic, he will speak Arabic. And when he meet a person from France, he will speak French. So he has many competence in languages, in many languages, but he speak those languages in separated time. That's called by monomultilingualism. So now today we are living in multilingualism society. So the language could be acquired and could be learned and also be fished. So there is a term called by acquiring languages. It means that we get the languages subconsciously. While learning, we got the languages or information about languages in consciously. While fishing, fishing is combining between acquiring, learning. Because in fishing, you know that when someone go to fish, so he has a motive, he has a motivation, he has a attitude or perhaps intention in fishing or hobbies also. So uh, the multilingual person or multilingual people, they have a beautiful behavior. So when someone can speak more than two languages, the language behavior he has is ambivert up to extrovert person. So their behavior is extrovert, perhaps. While monolingual person, the language behavior is introvert person. So Alhamdulillah, when you are a multilingual person, so of course, I can convince that your language behavior is ambivert and extrovert behavior. So here, I use some term about fishing languages. You know, languages fishing because when we try to get to master language or more than languages in the same time, its analogy, I use a little analogy like a fishing. So when you fish a fish, for instance, uh, your fishing route has only one hook or one bait in one bait, so of course you will get one fish. But when you fish using a fishing rod with many hooks and baits, so you can get more or many fishes. Yeah, it means that when you fish languages in our multilingual society, so you have to use many hooks and many baits, so you can get at the same time two or more than languages. This is what I find in my study about multilingual teaching and learning at Pesantren school or Islamic boarding school. Yeah. So because fishing languages, uh, so hard cohesion, and also there are stimuli to get many languages in the same time. So I use this term languages fishing in my study. Next about uh, yeah, multilingual learning model. In the 2009, Malone gives some model of teaching and learning, multilingual teaching and learning. Here, Malone start from acquiring or mastering one language, then move to another languages. So, Malone model, a person who will become a multilingual person should start from one language, and then she has to master all the skill and the competence in one language, then she can move to the other stage is in another languages. Here, Malone model here show that how to make someone from monolingual to become or to be multilingual person. This is Malone theory. So Genovia Makassar found that the model of multilingual teaching and learning at Pesantren School in Makassar, in a modern Pesantren School in Makassar, I found one model called by simultaneous sequential multilingual learning model. Yeah, in 2017, I found this model. So in modern Islamic boarding school, they start from multilingual. It means that they will stimulate the students. They show to the students their all the students in Pesantren how to speak in three foreign languages, to motivate or to stimulate the new phrase or sorry. So the model in multilingual teaching and learning in Islamic boarding school, so they start from multilingual to become, then they will focus in target languages such as foreign languages, to develop the literacy in target languages such as Arabic or English. Yeah. And then focusing in foreign language only, in one foreign languages. So this model, it differed from Malone model, so because this model try to make a person from multilingual to be multilingual person. So from multilingual to be multilingual person. So they start from many languages, then in the last step, they will focus in one languages. So it is not strange when a student in Pesantren or modern school, modern Islamic boarding school, in the last of his school, he will focus in one language. Perhaps he will clever, he will smart in English more than Arabic. So this is become multilingual person. And next, when I studied about how to measure or how to teach three or four languages in the same time in Maluku. So I tried to implement the local language of Maluku in multilingual teaching and learning process, because it is really economized and also easy for the students to get resource of learning. So I start to embed it or combining between target languages. So here, when the student is stretched with their own local languages, so we can categorize it as local languages, as a foreign language. And also, when they study about English or Arabic, of course, we can categorize it also in foreign languages. So both foreign languages here, such as target languages or local languages, yeah, we can categorize it as the foreign languages. Should be divided the percent of activities in our teaching and learning. It means that in one teaching and learning process, so we can embed two up to four languages in the same time of our teaching. So the student don't need to get an Indonesian book or local language book or Arabic book, but they will find those material in one book, one teaching and learning process. So this is called by embedded multilingual learning, teaching and learning process and activities. So in a target language, you have to know the most important target language.
Okay, halo, Dr. Saidna.
Sorry. Well, yeah. So we have to focus, or we have to know what target language most than the other target language we will teach, and then we divided the percentage of each languages. Here I divided the most target language, such as English language, got 40%, and then the local language and also Indonesian language, both of them 13%, 30%. Yeah. This combination or embedded three or more than three languages in one teaching and learning process. Yeah, it's called by embedded multi teaching and learning model. Yeah. Then we came to the COVID-19 situation. Then I try to combine between multilingual teaching and learning model with multi-blended learning model in pandemic situation. So we have to I have to design again about the teaching and learning process while pandemic situation. So I design a multi-blended learning through the research and development stages. Then the multi-blended learning come as my new design to implement multilingual teaching and learning, such as embedded languages in multi-blended learning. So in multi-blended, in pandemic situations, so we have to plan our teaching and learning process, how to teach, how to divide the percentage of each target language that we already emphasize as a target, as more target language that must be achieved by the student. Then we have to control all activities, and then in implementing also we have to evaluate all the steps we have. And in multi-blended learning, so we have to simplify the curriculum in the school, such as in Arabic or in English or Indonesian language, and also in local Indonesian local languages. So we have to simplify the curriculum. We make some simple need analysis to know our students' needs to learn. Our students need to know, and our students need to practice it in their teaching and learning process. We can start from independent learning or autonomous learning, and then we make a face-to-face in a small classroom. Then we try to make them, divided them into small group based on their area or their home, their location, home location. So we can divide them also as a small group. Then the teacher or the lecturer should visiting them in their location, and then we can combine between online or offline. So when we have the internet access well, so we can conduct online learning. But if we get some problem in our internet access, we can conduct offline learning by dividing by distributing the CD or the material for.
Hello, Dr. Saidna, are you there? Okay, I'm listening.
Sorry, because some trouble with my internet access here. So, and then we can combine between online and offline learning. When we have an internet connection good, so we can conduct online learning, but we have a trouble or problem in internet access or Wi-Fi, so we can conduct offline learning. So we can combine both of the strategy and method and also the approaches. We combine all them in one page called by multi-blended learning. So the most important thing when try to conduct multilingual teaching and learning and then combine it between multi-blended learning, we have to plan our teaching and learning process well. Then we have to control and never stop to control our teaching and learning and our activities, all activities that we run it. And then in implementing, we have to find another teacher or another person to observe us, our process in teaching and learning. Then we try to evaluate each step of our procedure in implementing multilingual teaching and learning and also multi-blended teaching and learning in one page of teaching and learning process. So here,
Test.
okay, yeah. Got some trouble, so I think this short explanation, is clear to explain about multilingual teaching and learning and such in pesantren or Islamic boarding school, and also multilingual teaching and learning or embedded multilingual teaching and learning in another school or in a government school. And then we try to implement it or combine it with multi-blended learning model. So I think this is a short of my presentation. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's all my presentation. I hope this short presentation will give you a new knowledge, new information about teaching and learning. So we'll discuss it further if you have any question or have any suggestion. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to moderator.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you for your nice explanations about multilingual teaching and learning in boarding school and also in government school. Actually, here Dr. Saidna Zulfikar illustrate how to learn language through fishing just now at the first when he begins the presentations, and also talk about how to teach multilingual teaching and learning through offline and online. Maybe now we are going to questions and answers for the audience. Maybe any question from the audience?
Yes.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Professor.
Okay, please for you, Dr. Suraya Banu. Okay, it's your turn.
Yes, I am very much agreed with Professor Sir. As he said, multilingual and multi-teaching, because India is a land of many religions. There is speaks various types of languages. So, as an Indian, I also speak Telugu, Malayali, Bengali, Bihari, Punjabi, Odisha. Most of the language, Hindi, English, Arabic, Urdu. But this is, I am suggested this is beneficial to speak, learn multi languages, to communicate, because the communication means communication from both sides, sender and receiver. Sender will say his thoughts, his opinion, in which language the receiver will understand is. If receiver is understand the language, then he will communicate with each other. I agree with sir. Thank you, sir.
Halo, Assalamualaikum, Kak Firda.
Okay. Wait for a moment, please. This is Dr. Suraya. That's the point of the question is, yeah.
Maybe she just give a reflection.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your great opinion, Dr. Suraya. And now we are going to the next question.
I will give my suggestion. There no question. I suggest it is beneficial if you use multi-language to communicate and mix up with others easily.
Oh yeah, it's okay. After Dr. Said Nazulfikar will respond, your questions and opinion. And now we are going to the next speaker, or maybe directly want to answers by Dr. Said Nazulfikar. Maybe want to respond what Dr. Suraya Banu. Yeah?
Kak Firda, I have questions.
Okay. Wait, I want to respond or not, sir? Or maybe directly to the next questions?
Yeah,
Dr.
I will
Said.
respond it a little bit, give some response. Yeah,
Okay.
of course. There are many beneficial of multilingual person. You know, when I came to Arabic country, when I speak Arabic, they will consider me as their brother. When I came to India, perhaps when I speak India, Nahi Beta, Acha Acha, Nahi Karachi, yeah, the Indian people will consider me as their family, as their best friend. Yeah, this is the one of the multilingual person benefit. So we can, because we are living today is a multi culturalism, multi religion, multi ethnics and races. So it is important for us to acquire more than two languages to be a successful one, because you know the successful person is not his IQ is higher than another, or it's not about emotional quotient, but the successful one is who has a communicative competence, or sometimes we call by CQ, communicative cohesion or cultural cohesion. So when a person could understand people in many culture and many languages, so it is a successful one, because of course they will have many relation with another people, can communicate with another people from any country in the world. Yeah, this is the beneficial. So yeah, of course, the implementation, yeah, perhaps I already examined from the sequential simultaneous sequential model. Yeah, of course it is effective. So but the sequential model, it could be implemented in modern Islamic boarding school only. But if you will try in a government school, so you can try embedded multilingual learning model. Yeah. Thank you, Prof, for your suggestion or for your comment.
Yes,
Thank you, Prof.
one point I want to add, please, 1 minute.
Sure.
In this pandemic situation, when due to pandemic, we all world are facing same problem, and social distance are maintaining to survive. Here, on the other hand, we see a great advantages or multi-language. We all over world, we all go together, gathered onto the same platform that is called virtually, and still right now we are in India or other states associated with Arabic countries, all of you with multi-language. It is a great example of this. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, no problem, Prof.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Suraya, and also thank you for Dr. Said Nazulfikar for the response. And maybe any other questions about this topic?
I gonna pop up question, Kak Firda.
Okay.
Hello, Kak Firda, this me, Fida.
Yeah. Oh, Fida. Okay, Fida. Go.
How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, Fida, maybe you want to give a question or a statement?
A question.
Okay, questions, go.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. My name is Vida Ruhia.
Okay.
I do interesting with the topic you have presented before. And honestly, it's such a precious time to meet Dr. Saidna here in this conference room.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm the one that have cited your journal. I read your journal many times. It's about
Yeah.
multilingual and bilingual learning in the boarding school. It's interesting to find someone that come from the same boat as me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do have interest in bilingual and multilingual learning, sir. And I do agree the way you said learning language in multilingual environment, such as doing fishing by using many hooks and bait. I do agree with that. However, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher in multilingual school. I did a mini research before, and I also my student sometimes they also did switching or mixing the languages at the same time that may cause confusing for other interlocutor for their friends. Yeah, and I read from other journals. They said that this occurrence is considered as drawback or as the lack of language proficiency. So my question is, what do you think about these imbalanced multilingual that consider as improficient the language? And what do you think about the chord mixing and chord switching between the interlocutor that also considered as the lack language proficient? What do you think about that? And do you have any idea to tackle these problems to make my student have a balanced language between actually I was teaching a student who studied about Arabic and English at the same time, and sometimes they use Indonesia also. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kak Firda.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's a really nice question.
With softwares and hardwares, they can translate. Right now, we are associated with all over the world here on virtual platform, Indonesia, Arabic countries, and Romania, and so many all over the world. We can't understand every language.
Yeah.
We can translate the words. If you can write via writing, you can translate. You can record the voice and translate every time. This translator is available, and students are very well comfortable with softwares. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Suraya Banu. Yeah, now let's go to Dr. Saidna Zulfikar for to respond Fida's questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question, Vida. So it's based on our perspective. In my explanation, I mentioned that many experts have their own paradigm to see the multilingualism, such as Bloomfield, when we adopt or follow the paradigm of Bloomfield, it is language skill. You know that native speaker of English or native speaker of India, like Prof. Suraina, of course, I convinced that they cannot master all the skill of their language. Like we are in Indonesia, perhaps we can speak in Indonesia well, but when we write in Indonesia, yeah, you know what is the score of our writing in Indonesia, even we are a native of Indonesian people. So there is yeah, I mean there is no one perfect in one in all skill of languages. Perhaps he will competence in speaking more than reading or writing. Yeah, because you know God is really fair. Yeah, God is really fair. Yeah, our God will give you the competence in speaking, but not in reading, because the reading is skill of another person. So this is the fear of God. You are beautiful, yeah, of course, you are beauty, yeah, but perhaps your competence is lack. So this is the fear of God. Yeah. So there is nobody There nobody is perfect in our life. So when we try to adapt or follow the paradigm of Bloomfield, so it is difficult for us. A person can speak more than 2 languages in a different level of competence and different level of language skill. They could be said as a multilingual or bilingual person. Yeah, even they can switch from one to another language in a small or in simple sentences. They could be called also by bilingual or multilingual person. So this is the paradigm that I use or I adapt in my study. I don't follow the paradigm of Bloomfield because it is difficult for us. Yeah, of course, the code mixing, code switching, of course, it is part from the bilingual also and multilingual. But the largest thing is called today by translanguaging. So today in 2013, Davis study about translanguaging. So he categorized that monolingual, bilingual, code mixing, code switching, multilingual, tetralingual. It is it is called. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think that's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, maybe the limit time has already done, Mr. Said Nazulfikar. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Said Nazulfikar. It is enough for your presentations. Yeah, it is really nice explanations, and maybe you can close the presentations, Dr. Said Nazulfikar.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, become a multilingual person is a gift from the God. So try to be, try to get the gift and try to be the one or the person who got the gift from God by being a multilingualism and got many benefits from the multilingual person. I think that's on my presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you for Dr. Said Nazulfikar bin Tahir from Universitas Ikraburu. Okay, now we are going to the second speaker because to limit the time, and we are going to Professor Madia, Dr. Masyitoh Yaakob from Pusat Citra University or Kebangsaan Malaysia, Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia. Are you there, Dr. Masyitoh Yaakob?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
thank you very much, Ms.
It's yours.
Firdausia, the moderator. Shall I would like to share my screen. Can I share my screen?
Okay,
can I have the host able me to share the screen, please?
Okay, please go.
Can I have action? Thank you so much for the moderator and also for organizing committee of this conference. And thank you so much for the chance given. It's a bit, last minute for me, but I try my best. So today I'll be presenting something a little bit different from language. This presentation. Mine is about environment. So my topic is revisiting environmental justice or justice for the environment in Islam. I still can't share my screen, so I'm waiting. But anyway, I continue with my presentation in the meantime because time is precious. I'm from Pusat Pengajian Citra University, a multidisciplinary school in University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the National University of Malaysia. And I have some content of my presentation. First, I will introduce the paper and quote some definitions that I used in this paper, and whether or not I can share or not yet. Okay, so as an introduction, yes.
Yeah, continue. I'm so sorry for the screen. We are still waiting for the committee.
Okay, sure. So I better continue because of the time limit. Okay. As an introduction, this paper focuses on analyzing actually the literature on Islamic environmental thought in which environmental justice, or rather justice for the environment in Islam is preached. So this is study in the literature. And of course, when you search the literature on the phrase environmental justice, and the definition is actually, this is from famously defined by Environmental Protection Agency of United States. It is environmental justice, or EJ it is called, is the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin. Environmental justice, it is focusing more on the meaning justice for marginalized people, meaning that you know, if you having this negative environmental impacts is always in, you know, in the area or in neighborhood or residential areas of the marginalized people. So this is what the literature on environmental justice is all about. But in my paper, I would like to use it a little bit, not a little bit. It's a different actually definition, which is environmental justice. In my paper refers to or means justice for the environment. So that's a little bit different from what you find in the literature. And another term, so, you know, in my paper, the definition I utilized is religious belief, morals, and what one defines as right and wrong. And another term that I would like to define before I proceed is ideology, because I use it quite a lot of, of this term in my paper. If you refer to Cambridge Dictionary, it is defined as a set of beliefs or principles, especially one of which a political system, party, or organization is based. So this is what you find in the dictionary. In my paper, I define it as political, social, economic, and environmental ideas that define a particular group of people. So that's what I'm using in my paper. So let me check if I can, or not yet. So I am going to go to another slide, which is strengths of environmental thought. So in the research that early research, this preliminary research that I'm doing at the moment, we found 5 strengths of environmental thoughts, 5 categories, not 5 strengths, 5 categories of strengths of environmental thoughts. One is categorized as value-based. And value-based environmental thoughts can be divided into 2 categories: anthropocentric, which meaning a value of nature centered on material or physical benefits of humans. And also another category is ecocentric, which you know, propagated nature is valued for its own sake. Okay, all right. So we have some background music. Okay, so I continue with another category of strengths of environmental thought is ecology-based. Before that, the good example of value-based strengths of environmental thought is utilitarianism. So that's the good example, because it comprises of that 2 characteristics, anthropocentric and also ecocentric. And another strength is ecology-based. This is focuses on the status of ecology. So you have examples like deep ecology. You have example like ecofeminism. You have example like eco-socialism. So these are environmental thoughts that you can find, in the ecology-based category of environmental thought, that particular action. So and also applies the ontology, which means ethical theory on duty and right, and applies virtue ethics. Yeah. which means emphasizes on humans as moral agents. And the fourth one is contemporary environmental thoughts. Today's theme is, traditional Islam and also modern world. So we have in environmental thoughts a category of contemporary environmental thoughts, and the two famous or probably the most controversial strands are animals' right group, most of the time attempts to counter anthropocentric or human chauvinist environmental justice movement, which I have defined earlier from the definition given by Environmental Protection Agency of United States. Okay, let me just check. Okay, I still cannot share my slide, but anyway, I'll continue with the last one. The last category of strands of environmental thought, religious-based environmental thoughts, originated from the teachings of revealed knowledge, of course, beliefs and values as a guide, reference, basis, measures and principles for the believers. The difference between the strands of religious-based environmental thoughts, the different strands of religious-based environmental thoughts are at the theological principles. So the rest, the perspective at the end, the conclusion of each towards the environment, almost similar, which is towards the protection, preservation. And my paper is focusing on Islam, of course, as a topic, explicitly presented. And I check one more time. No, not yet. Okay. So
okay, I'm so sorry. I just reminding the time.
Okay. So okay. I go straight to methodology. So when doing this preliminary research, I formulate two questions. One, what evidence from the literature supports justice for environment in Islam? And how the evidence from the literature supports justice for the environment in Islam? So of course, I searched two databases, one Google, another one is Google Scholar, and I found, of course, thousands of references or literature from the 1990s up to 2000 progress, and reporting results, which, preliminary results that I'm sharing with you today. So as a result of discussion, I'm going quickly now. Okay, so okay. So we found on the question of what evidence used by the literature in explaining or in presenting Islamic environmental justice in literature. So we found the authors using Quranic verses, Sharia law, and ethical conducts from the Islamic perspective, Sunnah, and also they have here their own opinion or views, expertise in science, in Islamic studies, and of course, because I cannot show my slides, so if I read through the the quotation of verses in the Quran, the Sunnah, and the opinions of the the professional opinions of the authors, probably it will take a longer time. If I could share this slide, you can see from the slides. So anyway, modern day living in terms of people's interactions towards the environment or with the environmental elements. So that's how in the literature there has been using these materials as evidence in their explanation. So as a conclusion, so I'm going quickly now. We can see that environmental justice or justice for the environment in Islam is environmental ethical teachings that have been revealed in the Quran and exemplified by the Prophet ﷺ, as well as the findings through scientific inquiry of human research. within the domain of Islamic values, of course, we can expect, this influence is higher in comparison with the impact of other environmental principles or other factors. So justice for the environment as an environmental thought in Islam tradition, Islamic tradition, is very important for Muslims because it is the sacred teaching of revealed knowledge from Islam. So it's theocentric or God-centered. Hence, Muslims can better relate with in that the rationales and reasoning pertaining to their thoughts, attitudes, and action in their interaction with environment are the will of Allah, and not merely based on logical arguments of human limited knowledge about nature and the universe. So I think I end my presentation with that note. Thank you so much. Back to Ms. Firdaus, moderator. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's really nice presentation, nice explanations about Islamic traditional Islam. Yeah, it's okay. Now we are going to questions in so clearly about the revelations about the Islamic environment in Islamic studies. Yeah. Maybe any one of you want to ask a questions? I repeat once again for the audience. Okay. So nobody, no one? Is that clear enough? Okay, so thank you. Okay, maybe Dr. Masita Yaakob, thank you for your presentations, and maybe you can close the presentations, or maybe just now you have give the conclusions. Do you want to close again, Dr. Masita Yaakob?
I have concluded it, but I just want to say that if anybody wanted to see the slides, I can, I'll put into the WhatsApp group. If the committee like to give it to the participants later on, since
I'm so sorry for
from the committee to share my slides. So that's all I think. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Masita Yaakob, for the presentations. Yeah, that's so clearly. Now going to the third speaker, we are going to the third speaker, Dr. Tiago Soares. Are you here, Dr. Tiago Soares?
I am here. Hi.
Okay, go. It's your turn. Time is yours.
Yeah. Okay. So, let me just try to. Okay. So, hi everybody. My name is Tiago. I'm originally from Brazil, but I'm representing Sweden because I studied there, so I was included as there. I'm going to talk. Actually, I didn't have any presentation, so I hope it's fine. I'm going to actually talk about differences of culturalism, interaction. It's something that I started to do recently. A bit of social media interaction, because it's something that I actually is using more than ever, tools such as the one that we are here, right, with Zoom and these kind of things. So my presentation is going to be very brief. I'm going to be very honest. I'm just going to point out some things. For example, when it comes to culturalism, we have three points that need to be understood. We have multicultural societies, we have cross-cultural societies, and we have intercultural societies, okay? Multicultural societies, societies that they have several ethnic groups, or several cultures, or several religions. You can consider that, for example, especially countries that, countries such as like United Kingdom nowadays, you can also say France. So there is this idea that you don't have like a specific culture, which, for example, you can see that even like I live in Sweden, right? At the moment I'm not there, but I live in Sweden. Sweden, even if there, you see that you see the diversity of the cultures, they speak for themselves. I mean, I'm not saying again that you have only one specific culture in this country. Of course, the American culture and British culture, they tend to speak louder than the others, but you still have a bigger visibility for other communities. So as example for United States, right? If you go to US and you go to a place where there is more Muslims, you're gonna see mosques. If you go a place that there is more Jews, you're gonna also see more synagogues, and you're gonna see that their culture on that specific place. Again, it's also global cities, but the thing that I wanted to say is that multicultural societies, other societies, they can speak, they also have like a stronger presence. While, for example, societies such as Sweden, also some Scandinavians, even if you have other cultures as well, the main culture of the country, they tend to kind of absorb them. So, for example, one interesting point to say in Sweden, as example, usually the second generation of the people that are born in the country, either if they are from immigrants, refugees, etc., they tend to be less religious. That's because of the education. That's because the system itself put them to think more them, and so the culture, the country's culture, it kind of like changed the people's perception. While in other countries such as US and also UK, as I mentioned, you have this sort of mentality where some of the kids, they keep preaching a specific religion, or they keep having that connection toward their past, right? Wherever the country they are from, if they are from a country in Africa or also Asia or Middle East. When it comes to cross-cultural, it's actually the understanding of how you entangle this situation when it comes to the cultural differences, right? For example, if you get a view from Europe, is more Catholic or Orthodox, spite of course, when you have countries such as, for example, Kosovo, Albania, or also Turkey, that they have the Muslim perspective. So the thing is that, like, how you can actually connect people through the idea that they have different mentalities. There is also the sense of like seeing that stronger. I'm not saying again than, for example, Hinduism and Buddhism they don't have, but when it comes to the three, especially Catholicism, Judaism, Hinduism, Catholicism, Islamism, and Judaism, you have the sense of seeing a bit more stronger than when it comes to let me say, the East religions. And these things are very important. This is the idea of culturalism. Interculturalism is a deep understanding of the culture. So intercultural is more the fact that, for example, how do you understand that? So, for example, when you have an interaction for a cross culture that you needed to face a challenge or a situation with a specific country or a specific culture that's different than yours, then it comes the interculture. That's the fact that you try to understand, you try to learn something from that culture, or you try to get connected with that culture, you try to do studies from that culture to work towards enabling the cross culture, right? To enable the understanding. As I mentioned, to refer again, the multicultural is just the fact of a society that the cultures, they speak louder than other cultures, as I mentioned, for example, US, UK compared to Sweden. When it comes to that, connecting with the social media, it's very important to understand that I would say that the tolerance is the most important. I mean, I think that's something that everybody is aware about that. I think that the most important, especially for me, and since also that I'm here in this event and there is a lot of Islam scholars and this kind of things, and also other religious people that study religious studies, and I notice is the point that whenever you have a challenge, of course, you try to not just learn by yourself, but you also try to contact the people, because one of the things that I notice, especially with when it comes to things that are more sensible, especially when it comes to religion, or things that are a bit of challenge when you talk to a culture. Of course, the books are very important, but the most important is that you try to talk to the people from that specific community. I mean, I always try, especially for me, since I'm not really a religious major, I more like global studies and understand of multiculturalism and this kind of things, and also peace and development studies, and also law. I always try to not just get books, for example, religious books, to try to understand the minimum that I can, right? But I also try to ask the communities there. So I was working, for example, with NGOs before. So that's actually something that I was doing before. And whenever there was something very sensible with their culture, if it was religious or it was a taboo, or it was, for example, some thought that they had, I think the most important is that you always try to ask and balance the situation, because I mean, of course, you're not obliged to understand that, but you also need to try to respect as much as you can that. So I mean, this connection of really trying to, as much as you can, to understand their perception and also try to be honest with that, because unfortunately we also live in a world that people, they just presume things and they just put their thoughts because that's the situation. But I think that especially for us here, since we are all like researchers in the academia, it's very important that you not just focus on books, but you also focus on the community from that books, right? I mean, I learned way more working with some local NGOs from several countries, especially Muslim countries and also other societies, than actually reading a book, you know? So I think that's very important to mention. And when it comes to the social media, I mean, that's also very important when it comes to promoting tolerance and this kind of things. You really needed to not just ask the people, of course, understand read a little more, a bit more. For example, when I did some learning about the Islam, and of course, when it comes to the book, I totally understand and I know that the language is in Arabic, and when I read in another language, it's not really the book. So sometimes even for me, when I was reaching some topics about that, I always try to not only ask my friends to study on the topic, but I also try to ask some religious people, because I know that when it comes to translation, especially with the religious books, it's something that's not just sensible, but you also lose a lot of sense from the thought that's given. Because nowadays, as I mentioned, we need really to do a lot of study on social behaviors on social media. I think it goes more like on psychology, because unfortunately on the social medias and the digital world, we have a lot of situations that people, they can hide themselves, they can anonymize themselves, and then sometimes people, they can show the best of themselves, but they can also show the worst of themselves. And I think that when it comes to that, we really need to do more studies, analyze more. Even for me, I'm trying to do some research on that, connected to like sociology, mentality, and kind of things, because we see nowadays that there's a lot of people that they kind of show some perception on the internet that you really needed to not just be careful, but you also needed to understand more how this fact that you're not really seeing the person on in front of you, right, to face them, or whatever, like culturally difference or religious difference, how you can really understand the situation that some people, they think that, you know, social media is just a place that you can perpetuate these, unfortunately, some extremist views, whatever point that you stand. And even for me, I really try to incentive and tell people to engage more on social media. Even I tell this to the colleagues here, try to do more articles, try to really engage, because social media is a place that you actually can do good, in spite of the fact that, you know, a lot of people, they come to you and they say, oh, but social media, there is a lot of hate. Of course, there is a lot of hate. Of course, there is a lot of anonymous people that they don't want to show, that they want to perpetuate hate speech and this kind of things. But I also feel that there is an opportunity for us to promote good. And that's what I try to do on my social media. I really try to show to people that I'm not only engaging, for example, as I mentioned, with Matmuhinda, I pronounce correctly here, from the university, also with few colleagues here, a lot of people are abroad. But the fact that I try to contact other people to show that in the end, you know, we are all humans. We are all like, if you're good people, you're promoting good, you're trying really to do this cross-cultural conversation, right, which we're doing here with different religions. It's actually the most important, and that's where we need to really push more than just have some issues, especially with the internet nowadays, which I think is the one of the most democratic places that you can have. I mean, I would never imagine, even for myself, that I would be naive in talking for people, for example, from Indonesia, you know. So I think it's very nice, and I also think it's so nice to give a different perception from maybe the westward, even though, again, as I mentioned, I'm from Brazil, even though I don't look like for a lot of people. But I think that that's very nice that we have this idea to really exchange cultural understanding. And yes, I think that's it from my side. I hope it was okay. It was a bit improvised. I didn't prepare anything, so apologies from my side. But yeah, thank you so much for the time, and I think that's it for me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I am very much agreed with you, sir. It is depends on our interest, how much we adopt others' culture and others' language. It is our interest. It depends on our interest. If you are interested to involve with you and your society, your team, then I will adjust. How I will adjust? I will adopt forever your culture, your language, and your all other functions to attend. This is from my side. I agreed with you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, maybe Dr. Tiago, please respond the questions and the commenter from Dr. Suraya.
No, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's also the point. For example, I told, since also this is the topic of our conversation here, for example, like as I mentioned, Islam, right? I think it's very important to understand that, for example, for Islam, it's important that you understand Arabic. Since I don't speak Arabic, I feel like for example, which options that I have? I either going to talk with somebody that studied language, the religion, or I'm going to try to talk to somebody that knows that, because I found, of course, some books that talk about it, but I also needed to understand this perception, and I think it's very important. Even one of the books that I had before, it was a partially translated book. I think it was very important because one of the main pages was written like, I also needed to know my limitation as a person that's not just don't follow the religion, but also respect the religion, and I think that's also something that sometimes I see that some people, they have a bit of like presumption, and we need to be very humble when it comes to some, not just like the linguistic part, but also some cultural things, because we also need to understand that different countries, they have also different perceptions of the religion, right? I mean, we can say about, for example, Catholicism, since I am in Europe, not all the countries, they have the same perception over Catholicism. And you also have Protestants, and you have also Orthodox, and each one of them, sometimes they see different things in different ways. They see sense in a different way. They see other elements from the Christianity in different ways. And that also you need to be considered when it comes to that. And that's not only on religion, that's also on society, right? As I mentioned, culture is more than just economical things. It's about like country's perception, a bit of the history, the context of the religion that the country also sees as their main religion. And yes, I just stand a little bit, but yeah, I just wanted to go a bit further on the topic. But yeah, because you did actually, you confirmed what I say, but I just went a bit further. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, wait 1 minute, ma'am. Yes, I am agreed with sir, because being international award, I am translator. When we visit Sri Lanka, they speak Siudi language. Then everyone difficult to understand, but it was easy for me because in India, from south, Telugu, Malayali, Tamil, Madrasi, I know very well to speak. And the Siudi is the mingling of all languages. It is different, but the counting of Telugu language in India, it is and Malayali language, the counting is the same. Then it was easy for me to understand the Siudi language. The language is different, but it is the combination of mingling of the language. It is depends our interest, our feeling. If we want to speak, if we want to mix up on them, then we will try. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I don't know if I should address any comments or I still have time. No, but
Okay.
I'm gonna give a very good example, and I think like how the culture perception, right? I think since the colleague was talking about India, I mean, in Europe, for example, the situation with the cow meat, right? I know that, for example, in India it's sacred. In this side, it's different. But for example, when it comes, for example, the pig meat, right? Pig meat, as the colleagues here many study the religious thoughts. For example, when it comes to not just the Jew but the Muslim, you need to respect that. So that's also something that I tell people is not just the fact of like for us scholars, but also we need to respect that when it comes, for example, not to write a book, but one of the colleagues here will talk about sustainability and the sense, and also like when, for example, you travel to one of those countries, you know, you need to understand the perception of the food, like which food. And sometimes when I try to address that, I see that some people, I mean, not, of course, not everybody, but you really need to try to balance, because some people, they sometimes feel like that's not really a burden, but I mean, it's just about respect, right? You need to understand the context of the country before trying to go there and these kind of things. And I think that's very important because, yeah, we need to know at least basic when it comes to some countries, right? You're not going to go to, for example, as you mentioned, to India, in a very sacred place in India, and you're going to go try to eat like a cow meat or something like that. No, you need to understand and respect that. Or you go to a place that have this religious thought, especially when it comes, as I mentioned, with the pig meat for Muslims and also Jews.
Okay, I think enough, Dr. Suraya Bano.
Yeah.
This is, we have still a limit time.
Yeah.
Okay, but before it, I would like to greet Dr. Tiago Suarez because tomorrow is your special day. So we would like to say happy birthday for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, many happy returns of the day. Yeah, so tomorrow is at the 16th. Yeah. So maybe every one of you want to say, you want to greet Mr. Dr. Tiago Suarez. Yeah. Dr. Suraya, baby, do you want to give a greeting for saying a happy birthday for him?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shukriya.
Shukriya. Okay, then maybe Dr. Tiago, do you have a wish for your for your birthday tomorrow?
Yes. Shukran. Kullu shukran. We say shukriya. Dili shukriya. And English we say thanks a lot. Heartiest thanks. Heartfelt thanks.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, thank you for the questions, Dr. Suraya Bano, and thanks for the response, Dr. Tiago Suarez. And maybe that's enough for your presentations, Dr. Tiago. And once again, we would like to say happy many returns of your special day tomorrow. Yeah, the 16th of September. Okay, thank you for your good presentations, Dr. Tiago. Maybe you will close the presentations, or maybe enough? Do you want to close your presentations? Is that or we think that?
Yes. It's okay. Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now we are going to the third. To the next speaker. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Tiago, and also Professor Dr. Suraya Bano. Okay. Now we are going to the third speaker. I would like to call Professor Hisam, Dr. Hisam Al-Sagbini. Are you here?
Yes,
okay.
Hi.
Okay, it's your turn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. I only probably have a short time to present, but I'm very interested in sharing some of our insights. Again, thanks, Muthman and the team for inviting me to this presentation. My name is Dr. Hisham Al-Sagbini, and I'm the head of assessment at Cambridge University Press and Assessment in the UK. I look after a big region. I look after the Middle East, Africa, Central Asia in general, in terms of assessment requirements. So obviously, what I wanted to share with you today is an idea that we developed during the lockdown, which is related to measuring our impact. So in the coming 10-15 minutes, I'll share some notes of what we did over the past few months. I can't share my screen, Muthman. Can you please unlock the option for me to share the screen?
Wait me, Prof.
while the screen shows, maybe you can continue your presentations.
So what I wanted to talk about today is impact in particular, and how we can measure the impact at Cambridge, and what basically we do to measure that kind of impact, and how we build that community around finding the right resources and assessing the outcome of these resources, particularly from the perspective of the learners. So impact in general in our own pedagogy refers to mainly the positive outcomes. These positive outcomes associated with our exams or learning materials, whether it's a big university like us or a small institution, doesn't make any difference. But obviously the key element here is the positive impact that it brings on teachers and learners. The principle in our work is mainly based on something we call impact by design. And I think that's an interesting notion that I would call for all scholars and all colleagues here to really try to apply in their own practice. Impact by design is a very interesting model that will incorporate the notion of measuring impact while we're developing our assessment tools. And obviously this is more evident now as we are basically entering the post-COVID era compared to how it was a few years back, because now when we're even building a small informal test, we need to have a mentoring mechanism, an evaluation mechanism that will allow us to assess the impact. We work on this as well in the long run, collectively. Impact by design as a topic starts with a plan. So I basically plan what I want to basically do in my research, in my assessment, and then it includes support, communication, mentoring and evaluation, and then learning. That model seems very simple, but obviously when it's implemented, when it's incorporated in the learning process, it becomes really tricky. So impact by design is the main foundation for the work that basically we do when we are basically developing any new product or developing existing products. And that's not a short, kind of a quick win. It's something that would take a whole cycle to be completed. And that will not basically be, done without collaboration with various stakeholders. That's why we developed something we call the Higher Education Consortium. And the Higher Education Consortium by Cambridge looks at developing an international research agenda. The heart of that agenda mainly focuses on impact and impact by design, and developing cross-consortium research practice. And then obviously that will eventually be used to support national research agendas as well per countries. So the impact is based on a framework, and that framework integrates all the aspects of our work collectively as the gold standard for measuring and promoting our impact in all the tools that we produce. We have various examples of how this can be done, and we've got various activities that are taking place. Like I mentioned, if you are based in a country where we do have presence, I would invite everybody really to take part in these conversations that are taking place now. Across the region now, we've got various initiatives that mainly invite universities and institutions to think of the impact of their assessments or the tools that they use from our portfolio in their own practices. If that applies to you, please do reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to work or with you on measuring that kind of impact through the team. The principle behind it is very simple. Now, post-COVID, we can't work in isolation from our partners. We can't work in isolation from other institutions. We can't work in isolation from our learners. We struggled for months and years now to adapt to the online model when we're basically looking at a screen and sharing ideas through events like yours. The beauty of, I think, the success that we all collectively did in the educational arena is the fact that we managed to do this quite well, work in isolation, even if they are online, if they are working online. students are capable of interacting, measuring, their progress and sharing their progress. Of course, we're now facing another set of challenges. One of the key challenges that we're particularly facing is how can we basically be more inclusive in online context? And is the online framework going to go away, when things go back to normal or post-COVID in a few years' time? Are we going to how we used to deliver our classes a few years back? This is really an interesting question, and we've been thinking about that question for some time. And I've been personally kind of thinking how we can adapt our ways into something that can be used effectively in various contexts. The conclusion that we reached was that we can't decide on our own. We can't really basically make a decision that, I want to make all Cambridge assessments go online. And I can't decide that basically all the assessments will basically be computerized or digitalized. I can't decide whether, I want all the centers to basically deliver our qualifications, to deliver their their training and their programs online. That's why there was an immediate need to work closer with stakeholders, whether these stakeholders are located in the same geographical area or spanned across the world. We have to work together. We have to come together in events like this and share how basically we can decide what kind of impact we want to have on our learners' lives. And that's why we came up with the impact by design model as our integrated global form of developing exams. For those that don't know what Cambridge does, we of course have one flagship product in addition to a large range of products. I'm sure many of you would know us through IELTS and IELTS preparation materials, but we, in addition to that, have a wide portfolio of assessments that we look after and we distribute. Obviously, the principle of using research in the post-COVID world is fundamental, and I would really like to invite everybody to take active role either through us by reaching out to us or by contacting our higher education consortium initiative providers worldwide. And we've got now currently in the Middle East, I've got 3 consortiums that are up and running, one in the UAE, one in KSA. We do have one in Africa. We do have 2 in Eastern Europe. And as I said, the main purpose is for us to reach out to providers, to measure or to assess or to respond to the key challenges that they face. The heart of our agenda is based on 3 things. How can we, as I said, how can we make our assessments more inclusive? How can we make our assessments closer to employers? So employability is a big item. And the third one, how can we bridge the gap between schools and universities? These 3 pillars, if we think about them as educators and strategically, we would come up with solutions to various problems that we face globally. These three pillars underpin our research agenda in the next year, post-COVID. For the first one, we did a lot of work with various institutions. How can we become more inclusive? How can we ensure that our learning takes into account the cultural differences? And obviously, I think educators and their institutions have a greater role to play in developing that kind of mechanism. In terms of developing your own set of localized tools or examples. It's very easy for us to shift into for example, getting a set of slides from a provider in a different country and using the classroom. Nobody would notice properly, but the learning process itself would be at risk. And that's basically what we're calling for to be changed or to be modified. We're trying to make sure that our learning is is centered around the learners, yes, true, but in particular around the impact on the learner, not only cognitively, but also behaviorally. I want to have an impact on how this person behaves after class. So yeah, basically we specialize in English language. We specialize in English language assessment and learning. But at the same time, English language assessment and learning is not separate from the actual behavior that I want this learner to promote. Whether it is basically, that includes also, in addition to the cognitive and the behavioral, also includes the creative and the innovative approach to thinking. Now, I realize that basically I don't have plenty of time to go to take a deeper dive on how these practices are conducted through Cambridge. But obviously I wanted to take this quick opportunity to share with you some of the examples of the topics that we present in various institutions. And all of these topics need to have an evidence. I think that's really what we lacked for so many years. We never had an evidence. Even now, we're still basically falling into the same trap. We're still falling into the same situation where I have a tool, I have an idea, I have a system, and I think to myself that that system is not working, I should choose this one. That decision is a very risky decision. I'm saying we shouldn't be courageous or brave to take decisions, but I'm saying that our decisions should be based on an evidence. And that evidence needs data. And there is no better time to collect data and make sure that we have data already stored and analyzed and used than now. Now is the time to make use of all the available data to make informed decisions in education. Over the past 2 years during the lockdown, we looked into 5 different research areas. The first one is the impact of reforms on to national exams. That's the first topic. The second one is the development of new subjects within content and skills relevant to higher education. What are the new skills that I want my learners to adapt in the post-COVID era? What are the new features that now the employers probably need to see in their graduates? Yes, people spend, I know lots of students that that spend 2 years now already studying online. So what kind of skills? What kind of skills would basically employers seek as being developed through that kind of framework? The third topic that basically we did also in the past few years is relevant to the students' performance in the classroom, then expectations and requirements of higher education for future developments, in particularly English language assessments. And then the final topic that we looked at was current socio-economic, political, and technological factors that impact assessment in higher education. And I think all of us are required and are supposed. And it's so uncertain, really, how next year is going to look like. And I'm still receiving calls from teachers across the region asking me of my advice on how they should adopt their next year's course materials or content. Should I basically promote digital resources? Should I basically ask all my learners to go back to class and attend my sessions? Or should I come up with something new? And my answer is always the same. Let's use the legacy that we had over the past 2 months. There is a set of skills that we developed that I'm so keen on not wasting. There's a set of skills that's probably, if you think about it, is really amazing in terms of how we can engage learners in an unusual way, particularly if it's online. Okay. I think that brings me to the end of my. I'm
so sorry, sir. We have a trouble just now. Okay, actually, now you can share your screen. I'm so sorry.
I finished.
I'm so sorry. We have a trouble just now.
No, that's fine. But I finished. I was told that I have 15 minutes, and I think I'm already 15 minutes. No problem at all.
Okay.
I think I managed to give you all the details that you want to get. And like I was saying, my answer to all these questions that I receive is let's use the legacy that we achieved. Let's use the accumulated skills that we built over the past 2 years and let's come up with a new, not only a hybrid model, but a new innovative hybrid model of learning, where we keep give learners a chance to interact globally and socially, using the online platform, using the facility that technology would provide us. At the same time, let's not compromise the quality of our assessments. I'm only probably selfishly talking about, from an assessment point of view. But if we had more time, I would have elaborated on how assessment can be used as a learning tool in the classroom. And we did that so many times, so effectively and so successfully, starting our learning process with an assessment, or moving away from assessments being summative only, especially, when we bring a big name like Cambridge and, want to use the assessment at the end of the course to measure learners' attainment or knowledge in general, knowledge retention. What we are calling for is a very unique integrated model where assessment is used at the heart of learning. If you're using any of our books, particularly a book called Empower, if you're using Empower, then learn as they go. And then I observe, and of course the discussion of my role as an educator would change remarkably, and that probably would require plenty more time. That brings me to the end of my 20 minutes with you today. I really hope in these 20 minutes I managed to give you an interesting material to think about, and I really hope that I can see you in future events. So Mutmana, it's back to you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentations today, sir. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm so sorry because we are in trouble just now, so we cannot make you become a co-host. Yeah. So now, but we still need your screen. Maybe you can share your PowerPoint or etc. just to make our reference. Yeah. Okay, sir. Actually, today, just now, you have give a lot of explanations about the importance of assessment and also in online study. Maybe any question for the participants? Is there a question from the participants about this? Okay, no one? Okay, if there is no one, maybe I would like to know more about SEP, sir, or Section Education Portal. Could you give me information about it?
Well, there are plenty of portals. There are plenty of portals available out there. There are plenty of resources. I'm not going to fall in a situation where I'm just basically be given any preferences to any of them. There are lots of them that are available, and I would invite anybody to explore the features related to any of these resources. I think it's looking at a holistic strategic overview of how these elements come together and present themselves. I think it's much more fundamental than just focusing on one portal. Because, to be honest, the decision of choosing a portal to be used in an institution is based on the needs of these institutions. And I would invite any provider to take a look at the available resources and explore how they can be used in their institutions.
Okay, actually, I'm really interested of it. What about if we want to join this activity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can simply send us an email and we will send all the details. And absolutely, we will be more than happy to, as I said, work collectively with any institutions at various levels and various initiatives. Absolutely.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for the information. Okay, maybe for the participants, any question for Dr. Hisam Al-Sagbini? Any one of you want to ask a questions? Is that clear enough? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir has explained very well. Sir has explained very well. Nothing is left.
Okay. Please, Dr. Suraya. No questions? That's clear enough. Okay. Okay, thank you for the time, Dr. Hisam Al-Sagbini. I'm so sorry for something trouble that happened just now.
No problem.
Okay. Maybe you can close the presentations and we are say sorry and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So we are going to the next speaker. Today we will have Professor Dr. Ahtem from Russia. Professor Dr. Ahtem from Vernansky Crimean Federal University in Russia. Okay, are you there? Professor Dr. Ahtem, are you there?
Hey, yeah, hello. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatullahi.
Okay.
I'm very thankful and happy to participate, to join this scientific event. Thank you to Dr. Mutmina and the host and the committee, and to be the part of Indonesian scientific community. And also the key question of the conference topic is very important, that we have Islamic and the multidisciplinary studies. Sure, Islamic is also the part of our social institution and community, and we go, and mainly it requires the communication in Islam requires understanding of Islamic notions and terms, and we have the word with the same root gem, for example, Juma, Jami, and Jamaat, which means community, mosque, and the collectiveness. That's the collective media and advertising. So can I share my screen? Okay.
Okay, please.
Okay. Is it okay? Is it visible? Okay. So
okay. Okay.
So do you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. And first of all, I'd like to also show you one book. This is very one important and bestseller, popular among readers, and you can see it. Okay, and I would like to share it with you later in chat in order to understand and read it more precisely. It's so important. And today we also talk about the digital intelligence, the digital community, the digital identity, and the cyber ethnography. That's the new notions, and the new community requires also the new rules of communication. So here also behaving online. So the 10 rules of netiquette. You know that Virginia, she is very famous scholar, just drawing this question inside of the internet identity. And today we are in the online, and still we have also in our university, partially we teach lectures by online, and we have seminars inside of offline, inside of rooms. And it's also a good combination. So netiquette is a very important question. Today also we have 10 rules how to behave inside of internet community. So the word netiquette is a combination of the words internet and etiquette. So netiquette is a set of rules that we follow behaving properly online. So why netiquette is important? It establishes good behavior while on the net. Remember, there is a real person on the end of your message. So rule number 1, remember the human. So the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Stand up for yourself, but don't hurt other feelings. So put yourself in their shoes. Comments online can be misinterpreted, so avoid sarcasm. Use smiley if you think the comment may be misunderstood. So ask yourself, would you say this to his or her? So if the answer is no, then rewrite and reread. So remember, your chats can be saved and emails can be forwarded. So you never know where your conversation may end. So rule number 2, so follow the same rules online that you follow in real life. So be ethical. So just because the computer can seem like a barrier between you and the other person or situation, that is not an excuse to lower your ethical standards. So breaking the law is a bad netiquette. So if you are tempted to do something illegal in cyberspace, chances are it's bad netiquette. So rule number 3, know where you are in the cyberspace. So netiquette varies from domain to domain. So, for example, on TV series discussion boards such as What's Happening Next on an MTV show, it may be perfectly fine to gossip about what your favorite character will do next. However, on a sports column, spreading rumors about the right of a particular player make you very unpopular. So, lark before you leap. So if you are interested in contributing your opinion to a message board or discussion forum, first get a sense of how people react. So then go ahead and participate. Rule number 4, forwards to someone's personal email account, not their work account. So rule number 4 here, bandwidth is the information carrying capacity on the wires and channels that connect everyone in cyberspace. For example, streaming audio or video uses a ton of bandwidth or space on the internet. If everyone in our class was watching YouTube, it would significantly slow down the internet speed of the entire Madison County Schools network. So rule number 5, make yourself look good online. So take advantage of your anonymity. Networks, particular discussion boards allow you to reach out to some you would otherwise not know. So be pleasant and polite. Don't use offensive language. Don't be confrontational just for the sake of confrontation. Rule number 6, share expert knowledge. So the strength of cyberspace is in its numbers. The reason asking questions online works is because a lot of knowledgeable people are reading the questions. The internet itself was founded as a group because scientists wanted to share information readily. The rest of us joined in. So do your part. You have something to offer, and don't be afraid to share what you know. Rule number 7. So help keep flame wars under control. So flaming, what people do, when they express a strongly held opinion without holding back any emotion. Yes, sometimes flaming and be amusing, but when it goes on and on, it's unfair to other members of the group, so they can get boring fast. So a rule number 8, respect other people's privacy. You have to just don't snoop. You'd never go through your friend's desk drawer, so don't read the email either. It could cost you a friendship or job the long run. So don't abuse your power. Rule number 9, when you spelling error begin the flame wars, ask a silly question or give an unnecessarily long answer. So remember, be kind. If you decide to point out someone else's mistake, do it politely. That's very important. So more tips to remember. So don't use acronyms like oh my god and others. So before you send a large attachment in an email, compress it so that it's not big. Try to avoid sarcasm because it's difficult to understand in print. So avoid writing emails using all capital letters. Add personality to your messages by using emoticons. Keep your communication to the point, and emails always use a subject line. So it's like also a good etiquette assignment. I usually give it to my students when we are entering master school or a bachelor school. So choose a public place, mall, library, or school, restaurant, or etc. Write several rules, unspoken rules of this public place. If you get confused, try using your rules of etiquette to help you to think of some. And for example, it can be a movie theater, and people can take rule number 1, remember that you are human. So how would you remember the human in a movie theater? There are other people in the movie theater, although you may not be able to see them, so be respectful of them. Then 3, for example, know where you are. So how would you relate rule number 3 to proper behavior in a movie theater? talking to a friend at home versus talking to a friend in a movie theater. For example, rule number 5, make yourself look good. So how would you use this rule in a movie theater? Remember that you are respecting your community, your family, and yourself. And next, what would happen if these rules were in place? What are the possible repercussions of your actions if you violate these rules? So then, how is this related to appropriate behavior on the web? So compare the rules of etiquette with everyday life. You should compare a minimum of 6 rules. And finally come up to the possible scenario that maybe happen in a possible place. So these possible benefits associated with one action compared with possible costs associated with another. So remember the movie theater, for example, and after this listing, choose what you would do and why it is proper, is the proper behavior. So, okay. And summing up here my report, I'd like to sorry. First, I'd like to say that it's important sometimes, of course, and inside of teaching class, when students sometimes just being a lot inside of the internet community, they can't feel themselves free inside of a real community. So it's a more psychological question, and we sometimes ask scholars in the field of psychology to help us to motivate students to move them from our online course inside of a real community, inside of a real class. That's very important. And if you have some questions, you're welcome. And thank you again for being with me today and for having me with you today. It's very important. And I really hope to spend more time with you and share some more interesting topics. And thank you for the invitation.
Okay. Thank you for Professor Dr. Atem for the explanations about how to use internet politely. Actually, this is a really interesting topic because nowadays, we cannot live without internet. So this is really good tips. And I think for the audience, maybe you have a question for Professor Dr. Atem. This is really interesting topic to discuss. Any one of you want to ask a questions? Or maybe that's clearly enough? Yeah, because I also got a clear explanation, clear tips, yeah, from his explanations. Any one of you? No questions? Maybe Professor Dr. Suraya, do you have a questions?
No, it's very clear. And
Okay, yeah, I do agree with you. So it's so very clear. Thank you for the time, Professor Dr. Atem. Maybe you can close the presentations because that's really clear for us.
Thank you very much. I will share the presentation in chat here in chat box, and you are always welcome. And have a good time. And my congratulations to all presentations and to all participants. See you next. Hope to see you on the next presentations. And warm greetings from the Republic of Crimea, from Simferopol. We're also the part of Muslim community and the part of Oriental community. So you're welcome. We have popular medical university in Crimea, and we have some students from Malaysia, and hope to have you here on the conferences too. And thank you for the invitation.
Okay.
So, terima kasih.
Oh yeah, sama-sama.
Sama-sama.
Thank you so much for your presentations. That's really nice to see you and to hear your presentations today, Professor Dr. Atem. Okay, now we are going to the next speaker. And now I will call the next speakers, Dr. Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. Are you there? Dr. Iwan Kuswandi? Dr. Iwan Kuswandi, are you there? Hello? Check. Dr. Iwan Kuswandi? Okay, I will call the next, the other speaker. Bapak Muhammad Jufriyadi Saleh, MPDI, MTHI. Are you there?
Hadir, baik.
Okay. Okay, baby, do you want to deliver yours? Okay, come on, time is yours.
Cek, cek. Baik. Syukron. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin Sayyidina wa habibina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wa ba'd, ayyuhal al-muhadiruna ala Isa wal musyariquna fi hadhihi an-natwa wa sahibun natwa al-muwajji ayyuhal hudur al-jam'ul karim. Uhayyikum bi tahiyatil Islam tahiyatan mubarakatan min indillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yus'id ajidu nafsi dha'ifan amama hadhihi al-buhur al-ilmiyya an ataqaddama bi syai'in wa kullu ma fil amri annani faqad yumkinu an usajji nafsi li an ataqaddama kalaman basitan an mawdu' ad-dakhil fi tafsir al-Qur'an al-Karim wa ahammiyatu dirasati. Baik. Lam yashhad at-tarikh al-bashari kitaban bi misli ma hadiya bihi al-Qur'an min al-hubbi wal ihtimam wad dirasa wal bahs. Al-Quran kama huwa al-ma'ruf lada al-bahithina, Al-Quran kama huwa al-ma'lum lada talaba bil ma'ahid al-islamiyya huwa kalamullah al-munazzal ala sidna wa nabina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-maktub bil masahib al-manqul bil tawatur al-muta'abbad bil tilawati. وبهذا التعريف نحن نعرف أن هذا التعريف يضم الخصائص العظمى التي امتاز به القرآن الكريم بغيره من الإعجاز والتنزيل على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم والكتابة في المصاحف والنقل بالتواتر والتعبد بالتلاوة، وإن كان قد امتاز القرآن بكثير سواها، يعني أن هناك المميزات كثيرة للقرآن الكريم. لقد وصف القرآن الكريم نفسه بأنه كتاب هداية، أنه كتاب هداية وهو نور مبين من رب العالمين. لقد وصف القرآن نفسه أنه بيان وتبيان لكل شيء، كما قال الله تعالى في محكم تنزيله ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين. وقال أيضا إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين. ورد السؤال عن كون القرآن تبيانا لكل شيء، فقال السائل كيف قال الله تعالى ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء ونحن نجد كثيرا من الأحكام الشريعة لم يؤلم من القرآن نص، يعني ليس هناك نصوص القرآنية بيّنت هذه الأحكام كعدد ركعات الصلاة ومواقيتها ومقدار حد الشر ونصاب السرق وغير ذلك. الإجابة لهذا السؤال كما قال شيخنا السيد محمد طنطاوي أن القرآن الكريم هو الكتاب الكامل الجامع تبيانا أي بيانا بليغا شاملا لكل شيء على سبيل الإجمال تارة وعلى سبيل التفسير تارة. وهذا التبيان إما في نفس الكتاب فإن لم يوجد في الكتاب طبعا فبحالته على السنة لقوله تعالى وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. فإذا لم يوجد في القرآن أو في السنة فبحالته على الإجماع كما قال تعالى ومن يشاكك الرسول من بعد ما تبين له الهدى ويتبع غير سبيل المؤمنين نوليه ما تولى. أو على القياس كما قال تعالى كما قال فاعتبروا يا أولي الأبصار. والاعتبار النظر والاستدلال اللذان يحصل بهما القياس. فهذه 4 طرق لا يخرج شيء من أحكام الشريعة عنها وكلها مذكورة في القرآن فكان تبيانا لكل شيء. وقد ذكر الشيخ متولي شعراوي في تفسيره أن الشيخ محمد عبده قدس عنه أن أحد المستشرقين سأل إليه كم رويبا يوجد ما فرط من شيء. فقال الشيخ محمد عبده القرآن علمنا أن نسأله فيما لا نعلم إلى أهل الذكر. قال تعالى فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. إذن القرآن أعطانا الحجة. القرآن أعطانا ما نستند إليه حينما لا نجد نصا في كتاب الله. فالقرآن ذكر القواعد والأصول وأعطانا حق الاجتهاد فيما يئن لنا من الفروع وما يستجد من قضايا. فإذا وجد في القرآن حكم عام وجب أن يؤخذ في طيه ما يؤخذ منه من أحكام صدرت عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لماذا؟ لأن الله وكله فقال وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. وكذلك الإجماع من الأمة لأن الله تعالى قال ويتبع غير سبيل المؤمنين نوليه ما تولى. وكل اجتهاد يرد إلى أهل الاجتهاد ولا رد إلى الرسول.
Hello, where is the sound? Where do we get these sounds? Please mute. Okay, then you can continue, sir.
طيب. ومما تكلمنا قريبا نفهم أن فهم الكلام الله الوارد في القرآن الكريم والوصول إلى المقصد من غير ذلك الكلام لا بد من علم التفسير لأن القرآن منذ نزوله إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وطاقتهم وحملوا على عاتقهم أمانة العناية به كتابة وحفظا وفهما وعملا حتى يوجد اليوم الكثير من كتب التفسير التي تخص كبار العلماء والمفسرين والذين جهدوا في شرح ما ورد في القرآن الكريم. ومن هذه الكتب نتمكن من معرفة دلالة كل حرف جاء في القرآن الكريم ونزل من خلالها إلى معرفة ما ورد فيه من الأعمال الصالحة ونعمل بما فيه من التعاليم الإسلامية والأحكام الشرعية والبعد عن ما نهى وحرم الله عز وجل. ولكن مهما أتقن المفسرون اجتهادهم وحاولوا أن يكملوا في تفسيرهم وأن يبتغوا إلى ذلك سبيلا ومهما بلغوا من العلم والفضل والكرامة فهم لا يزالوا معرضين للوهم والولد وواقعين في السهو والزلال. هيهات هيهات أن يكمل عمل بشري وهذا مما طبعه الله عليه البشر لأن الكمال لله وحده. فوجد من العلماء من أدخل في تفسيره ما لا أصل له من التفسير وما لا يتفق بالغرض الذي نسل من أجله، وأدخل الكثير من القصص الإسرائيلية التي لا تقبل عقلا ولا تسيق نقلا، والأحاديث التي لم يثبت نقلها عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وهذا ما يطلق عليه اسم الدخيل في التفسير. فقد خشي بعض كتب التفسير بكم كبير من هذه الروايات الواهية والأحاديث الساقطة، سواء كانت منسوبة إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أو إلى الصحابة والتابعين رضوان الله عليهم. والعجيب أن تلك الرواية الدخيلة تولولت في نفوس الأمة الإسلامية وتسلطت على عقولهم حتى صارت عندهم عقيدة على أساسها يفهمون القرآن الكريم وبتفاصيلها يفسرون ما ورد من آياته. ومن هنا نجد في أمس الحاجة إلى دراسة الدخيل في تفسير القرآن الكريم. والآن ما هو الداخل؟ الداخل هو الذي ليس له أصل صحيح في الدين، تسلل إلى رحاب التفسير على حين ورة وعلى حين وبلة من الزمان بفعل مؤثرات مختلفة بعد وفاة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وقال إمامنا مالك بن أنس رضي الله تعالى عنه: ما من أحد إلا يؤخذ ويترك رأيه إلا صاحب هذا القبر، فأشار إلى قبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. نستبد ونعتبر من هذه المقالة بأنه ما من أحد من العلماء إلا قد رد ورد عليه ونقد وانتقد عليه واعترض واعترض عليه، وهذا لم يعتبر انتقاصا من بعضهم لبعض، بل الواجب هو التنبيه على الخطأ والتحذير منه، ممن كدن أن معرفة الدخيل في التفسير هدف حتى يتجنب المسلم الزلل والوقوع بالخطأ، كما قال بعضهم: أردت الشر لا للشر بل لتوقيه، ومن لم يعرف الشر من الناس يقع فيه. فدراسة علم الدخيل قيمة ومهمة للغاية للأسباب الآتية. أولا، أن استنى شوية.
Okay.
أن هذه الدراسة أن هذه الدراسة تذب وتذاب عن كتاب الله بما علق بتفسير من الأباطيل والخرافات والأكاذيب التي كادت تسد الناس عن الرجوع إليها والتأويل عليها، وبعضها طوى على التفسير الصحيح لكتاب الله وأحفى مقاصده وبيانه الحقيقي وهدايته التي هي أقوم الهدايات وعقائده التي هي أسمى العقائد وحقها بالقبول وأحضاها للفطرة البشرية. ثانيا، هذا الدخيل بما فيه من الإسرائيليات وغيرها في هذا التفسير يظهر الإسلام أمام الباحثين خاصة، ونحن في زمان تقدم العلوم والمعارف بمظهر الدين الذي يشتمل على الخرافات والترهات والأباطيل، لأنه مبين لكتاب الله الأكبر، وهذه تفاسيره فيها ما يخالف حقائق الإسلام وسنة الله الكونية، ومؤلفها هم علماء الإسلام، فهي سورة سيئة للإسلام ولتبكير المسلمين، فكان لابد من بيان هذا الخطر والتحذير منه صيانة لهذه الرسالة الظاهرة. ثالثا، إن تنقية التفاسير من هذا الدخيل عمل جليل يعتبر جهادا في سبيل الله، لأن هذه الابتراعات والخرافات والقصص وجهها خصوم الإسلام والكائدون له. رابعا، دفاعا عن كتاب الله وإحقاقا للحق وبيانا للتفسير الصحيح، وليس من العيب الوقوع في الزلة لكونها من حواس طباع بني آدم، ومن الذي لا يخطئ؟ والحق هو أحق أن يتبع، والباطل هو أحق أن يرد عليه، والخطأ أليك أن يحذر منه ويجتنبه. وعلماؤنا الأفاضل إذا كان قد وقع منهم بعض الزلات والهنات دون تعمد أو حسبان لما ينطوي عليه من مفاسد الإسلام والقرآن والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وقد حمل كبر هذا الاسم المستشركون والمبشرون، فقد وجدوا في هذا الدخيل والمختلقات ضالتهم وما يرضي فهمهم وأوردهم، ويسبي صدورهم المريض الحاقد على الإسلام ونبي القرآن. وهذا الحقد هو امتداد للحروب الصليبية التي صنعوها على الإسلام، ولا زلنا حتى الآن نكتوي بنيرانها، وتتخذ اليوم هذه الحرب أشكالا متعددة، وهذا من أخطر البلاء على الإسلام والمسلمين. هذا ما نكتفي أن نقدم في هذه الندوة، وشكرا.
Okay, thank you for the time, Bapak Jufriyadi. And today we are going to question and answer. Yeah, any one of you, the audience, want to ask a question for Al Ustad Jufriyadi or Bapak Jufriyadi? Okay.
أنا أسأل.
طيب. Okay, time is yours. Dr. Iwan Kuswandi, do you want to ask a questions?
Yes.
Okay, it's your time.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
أنا أسأل عن المعنى واضربوهن كيف يداخل التفسير واضربوهن كما جرى أن ضرب في الهرهداء ممنوع قطعا، ولذلك أنا أسأل المراد والمعنى واضربوهن في حياتنا.
الكلام مش واضح.
غير واضح.
أيوة، غير واضح.
أنا أسأل عن KDRT Ustaz. KDRT في القرآن الآية واضربوهن، إذن الزوج بمعنى ضرب الزوج إلى الزوجة. هذا ما فهمته، ولذلك أنا أسأل المراد عند دخيل التفسير معنى واضربوهن.
طيب، شكرا. سأحاول أن أجيب السؤال حسب ما فهمت من الكلام. نعم، المراد بالضرب هناك ضرب غير مبرح، يعني ضرب تعذيب. إذن الضرب لا يطلق على ضرب المبرح، بل هو الضرب ضرب تعذيب يعني من الزوج للزوجة، فهذا يجوز بالإسلام. ولكن قبل الضرب هناك النصيحة، هناك التوصية. إذن الضرب آخر المراحل بالتعذيب كذا. شكرا.
شكرا.
Okay, is that enough? What about the answer, Dr. Iwan Kuswandi? Is the answer to your questions?
Yes, enough. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Okay, for other participants, any other questions? Okay, no questions so far. Okay, then thank you for Bapak Jufriyadi. Maybe you can close your presentations.
طيب شكرا كثير على حسن اهتمامكم وإن تجد عيبا فسد الحلل وجل من لا عيب وعلى ثم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we are going to the last speaker. We directly give the time for Dr. Iwan Kuswandi, MPDI. It's the time is yours.
طيب السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
فضيلة رئيس معهد الأمين الإسلامي شيخ الحاج أحمد فوزي تجاني PhD، سعادة رئيس الجامعة الأمين برندوان شيخ الحاج دكتور مهتدي عبد المنعم الماجستير، وجميع المحاضر في هذا المؤتمر العزيز. في هذه الفرصة أن أبين عن الموضوع تكامل القرآن والطرق والعلم في بناء منهج التعليم بمعهد القرآن الإسلامي، خاصة بمعهد تحفيظ القرآن التابع بمعهد الأمين الإسلامي برندوان. تكامل بين القرآن، المقصود المراد بالقرآن هنا تحفيظ القرآن، والطرق يعني المراد المعنى الطريقة الصوفية، بمعنى المراد هنا التكامل بين تحفيظ القرآن والطريقة الصوفية يعني الطريقة التجانية. والأخير التكامل بين القرآن والطريقة والعلم والساينس في بناء منهج تعليم بمعهد تحفيظ القرآن الأمين برندوان. تتركز رؤية التعليم في معهد تحفيظ القرآن بمعهد الأمين برندوان Sumeneb Madura Indonesia yakni ila anwa. Awalan fi ibadatillah wa thaniyan wal qiyam bi wazifatil khilafah 'ala al-ard. Lidzalika min al-muhimmah yu'tabar itlaqaha min ajli i'dad al-ajyal al-mutawaffiqin wal-mutafaqqihin fi din hatta yasbahu khairal ummah. Wa kadzalika insad من العلماء والمثقفين المتخصصين الذين يتمتعون بروح الامتياز مسلحين بالعلم والتكنولوجي ولديهم خصائص خاصة مثل حفاظ القرآن وحمال القرآن القادرون على تنفيذ قيم القرآن وتعليما وتحياتها في الحياة. وتشتمل مواد التعليم في معهد تحفيظ القرآن بمعهد الأمين برندوان على 10 أنواع. أولا التربية الدينية أي التربية العقيدة والشريعة. إذن في معهد تحفيظ القرآن وتعليم الفنون والجمالات وتعليم المهارات الفنية والتربية البدنية والصحية والتعليم القيادة والإدارة والتثقيف والدعوة. ولتربية البنات زيادة تربية النسوية. ومن أجل تنفيذ الأنواع 10 من التعليم يتصمم تدريب البرامج التعليمية وتعبئتها وتنفيذها بطريقة متكاملة لمدة 24 ساعة على شكل المنهج المتكامل أو يسمى المنهج الموحد ما يصعب تفصيله. أما التجارب التي قام بها كي الهاد تيجاني جوهري كالممارس للطريقة التجانية، يعني كي الهاد كمؤسس معهد تحفيظ القرآن هو حامل وعامل ومقدم طريقة تجانية، كما عمل أبوه يعني شيخ الهاد أحمد جوهري مؤسس معهد الأمين برندوان هو كمقدم طريقة التجانية. والآن رئيس معهد الأمين برندوان يعني Syekh Al-Had Ahmad Fauzi Tijani ibnu Syekh Al-Had Muhammad Tijani huwa kamuqaddam tariqah Tijani. Walidhalika amalu Rais Ma'had Al-Amin imma fi zamani Syekh Al-Had Ahmad Jauhari wa Syekh Al-Had Muhammad Tijani wal an Syekh Al-Had Ahmad Fauzi Tijani kulluhum jami'an yakni kamuqaddam tariqah Tijani. Walidhalika yata'allaq fi badal al-ulum wa teknologi fi nasyatat at-ta'limiyah bi ma'had tahfidil Quran bi ma'had al-Amin Prenduan Sumeneb Madura allati assasaha ijabatu itaqaru al-umur baina as-sufiyah wa at-ta'alim fil Islam intilaqan mimma sabaq turidu hadhihi al-waraqah dirasah fi bina'i damu ulum al-Quran fi tariqah al-ilmiyah limanahid at-ta'limi bi ma'had tahfidil Quran al-Islami Prenduan Sumeneb Jawa Syarqiyah Indonesia. Wal munaqashah fi hadha al-bahas yani wa kana ma'had tahfidh al-Quran bi ma'had al-Amin Prenduan al-madaris as-sanawiyah allati tu'tabar muassasah wahidah malmusah tabqa fi syaklin min ashkali tajribah min muassasatir rasail ar-rajih min ajli muwajahatin jabit taghyirat wa hadha yutbiku bima ya'taqidu azra annahu syakl min ashkalil istiqra'iyah wa taghyir fi ta'lim al-islami fil ma'ahid al-islamiyah fi Indonesia bihaitu yara laisa al-ma'had qadiran 'ala al-baqa' kal-mu'assasah at-ta'limiyah allati tatatabaq ma'a ma'na al-islam hasaba bal innaha tahtawi 'ala ma'na al-indonesiyah asliyah aidan walakin bijanibi dhalika hawala at-ta'lim al-islam fi al-ma'ahid al-islamiyah at-taghyirat aidan min khilal insha'il madaris at-ta'limiyah wal madaris at-ta'limiyah al-'ammah يعني كما رأى الزمر بأزدا ولذلك معهد تحفيظ القرآن يسمى ببسنترن كما رأى الزمر بأزدا ومن المهمة أيضا فإنما يقوم به كياي تيجاني كخطوة استباقية ومنفردة لمواجهة تيارات العلمية والتحديث يتركز كثيرا من أجل إعداد الأجيال الذين لديهم كفاءة في نفس الوقت هما العلوم والتكنولوجيا والقيم الروحية الدينية حول الإيمان والتقوى وهذا ما يكون نقاط الضعف في إهداء هذه الكفاءة إلى عدم توازن تقي للطلاب مما يؤدي في النهاية إلى انقسام الشخصية وركز التعليم الذي أقام به معهد تحفيظ القرآن بمعهد التابع بمعهد الأمين الإسلامي Prenduan على عدة أبعاد للشخصية الإيجابية قصدا لتحسين ذكاء الطلاب بحيث لا يقوم معهد تحفيظ القرآن التابع بمعهد الأمين الإسلامي Prenduan بعمل من خلال برنامج حب القراءة حسبا بل يقوم أيضا من خلال الانشطات الروحية إن الانضباط في وجوب صلاة التهجد والجماعة ولازم في عمل الطلاب في معهد تحفيظ القرآن يعني قراءة صلاة الفتح وأما صلاة الفتح صلوات الفتح يعني الأعمال اللازمة في طريقة التجانية كلاهما له علاقة وثيقة بتعليم الشخصية لأنه لا توجد سنة واحدة مذكورة في القرآن واضحة بإثناء صلاة التهجد لذلك فإن لها علاقة ترتبط قوية بين واجبات صلاة التهجد والتي له تأثير كبير على الذكاء خاصة في حفظ القرآن حتى يتمكن الطلاب من حفظ القرآن بسهولة المنفعة بواجبة صلاة التهجد يعني الطلاب يسهلون في حفظ القرآن وكانت لغة التواصل المستخدمة من قبل الطلاب هي اللغة العربية واللغة الإنجليزية، بحيث يسمح لهم بالتحدث باللغة الإندونيسية في عدة مناسبات واهتمامات فحسب، بما يؤخذ له تشجيع انضباط الطلاب بتطبيق اللغة التواصلة المفروضة بين لديهم، والذي يتجاوز عنها لقد حق عليه عقوبات تعليمية مختلفة. وأما الاستنباط من هذا البحث يعني تبحث هذه الدراسة في تنفيذ بناء تكامل القرآن، يعني في تحفيظ القرآن، والطرق يعني الطريقة التجانية، الطريقة الصوفية التجانية، والعلم والتكنولوجي في بناء منهج التعليم بمعهد القرآن. موقع هذا البحث في معهد تحفيظ القرآن التابع بمعهد الأمين الإسلامي برندوان في مادورا، حيث يتركز هذا البحث على كيفية تنفيذ بناء تكامل تحفيظ القرآن والعمل طريقة التجانية والعلم والتكنولوجيا في بناء منهج التعليم بمعهد تحفيظ القرآن بمعهد الأمين الإسلامي برندوان. وتعتبر استنتاج هذه الدراسة إلى أن تنفذ تعليم الشخصية لدى الطلاب في معهد تحفيظ القرآن يتطبق متناوية مدة 24 ساعة من خلال الجمع بين النشاطات المعهدية والمدرسية وتحفيظ القرآن، بحيث يتضمن تنفيذه إلى 4 أهداف. أولا، وهي أولها تكوين الشخصيات الدينية والذكية من خلال تنفيذ صلاة التهجد والجماعة وتقليد قراءة صلوات الفاتح. وثانيا، تكوين الشخصية الصديقية من خلال تنفيذ الامتحان التحريري والشفهي وحفظ القرآن. وثالثها، تكوين طابع التسامح والصدقة من الآخرين من خلال المخالطة والمعيشة بين الطلاب. وأخيرا ورابعها، تكوين الشخصية الانضباط من خلال اشتراكهم بالمنظمة الطلابية. هكذا ما أريد. جزاكم الله خير الجزاء، ثم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you for your presentations, Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. Okay, for the audience, maybe any questions from the materials that has delivered with our Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. Anyone? Any questions? Okay, maybe Doctor, because this is the last time, so maybe the audience has not focused. So maybe because it's also clear enough, yeah. Okay, audience, no questions. Professor Dr. Suraya, we are waiting for your questions.
Yes, very clear. And I am busy with my class also.
Oh, okay. It's okay, but it really nice. Thank you for so many questions that coming from Professor Dr. Suraya Bano.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Iwan Kuswandi, actually, maybe this is the last, there is no question from the audience, and I do believe that it's clear enough. So maybe you can close your presentations.
Closing statement.
Yeah, maybe, oh, no statement. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Maybe this is our closing, yeah. Actually, I would like to say thanks for all of the speakers today, yeah. From Dr. Saidna, Professor Dr. Masyitoh Yaakob, Dr. Tiago Suarez, Professor Hisam Al-Salbini, Professor Dr. Ahtem, and also Bapak Muhammad Jufriyadi Solih MTHI, and also Dr. Iwan Kuswandi. And also for the participants, for the all of the audience, especially for Professor Dr. Suraya Bano, thank you so much. And also, I don't forget to say happy birthday for Dr. Tiago Suarez. Yeah, I don't know exactly he is still here or not. Okay, thank you everybody. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Maybe that's all our discussion today. Hopefully, we will get so many benefits, yeah. And let's close by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.